Welcome to Consider Yourself Hugged. I'm Tammy.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Gracie.
And a hug is a gesture intended to convey a sense of care and support, safety, intimacy, and affection. And even though we can't wrap our arms around you, we want you to consider yourself hugged. We're back.
Okay.
Part 2, right? Did we give this a title?
I don't know. I don't think I gave it a title.
Problems, solutions, and resources. I don't know. We'll figure it out. There will
Sounds
be a
good to me.
title.
Right.
By the time you're listening right now, there is a title.
There's a title, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you didn't watch us last time or listen or whatever, wherever it is that you consume our stuff, then be sure to do that, because last time Gracie is leading us in the last episode in the next few, and she presented us with this question of, what are the hidden problems that you don't even realize are holding you back, and maybe some solutions. And then she wanted to bring us this week, and I'll turn it over to you to tell us what we're doing this week.
So this week, because we can come up with, grand ideas, all the cheesy motivational posters that I love. To actually, I love them, but actually to talk about some resources. So I'm going to go ahead and start with some of mine. And some of them are pretty okay, books. Yeah, those are good resources, whatever. So I'm going to share some of my favorite authors. I have tons. Oh my gosh, I have so many favorite authors. But one of my most favorites, and this, a lot of people will agree with that, Brene Brown.
Oh, can you back up though? Maybe we should just quick refresh on the issues that you were kind of dealing with.
Okay.
Just,
yep.
You don't have to go through all of them, but just what they are.
Oh, okay. So I'm thinking about one of the resources and how this applies. This is interesting. Okay. So my big thing was people pleaser and conflict avoidant and depression.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the resources, Brene Brown, and so basically,
and you're gonna send me links, all the things that you all talk about. Okay.
I'll list all these things. Yeah.
Okay.
So Brene Brown, another one, and I don't know, Tammy, I know I've mentioned him to you, but Michelle, I don't know, and just in general, I have a colleague. He's an author. He's a speaker. He's absolutely fantastic. His name is Dave Rendall, and he's written a couple books. One of them is called Freak Factor, which makes us weird. The things that make us weird make us wonderful.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And he is, and I'm going to get this wrong. I get this wrong all the time. He's like 6'5" or 6'6".
Wow.
And his thing, he also wrote a book. He co-wrote a book with something called Pink Goldfish, because his signature look is
P-I-N-K.
Yes.
Pink. Okay.
Because his signature look is pink. So a lot of times
6'5" and pink.
In a pink suit.
Okay.
With pink frames.
Okay.
And pink shoes.
So he has the experiences to back up this freak factor concept.
Oh, he's
being different.
Yeah. Yes. And the thing, he is probably, and he has a couple TED Talks or TEDx Talks. So you can go ahead and look him up. He's probably one of the most fun people I've ever seen present.
But you're going to send me those TED Talks, right? To put in the show notes. You said I could go ahead. You said I could go ahead and
go ahead and do that. Yeah, well, yeah, I'll do that.
I'm going to be a non-people pleaser and say, Gracie, would you look
Absolutely. Okay.
Of course you will, because you're a people pleaser.
No, actually, I'm doing this because it'll benefit others.
Okay.
Not in terms of I'm giving up of myself. It's like, I'm going to introduce you all to Dave.
I could mess with you all the time. I could say, okay, so it will please them to get this. Okay, keep going.
But here's one of the things I really like about it. So I like the content and everything else like that, but I also like his energy type of deal. So, just in presenting, he's great. But the other thing is that he also has Freak Factor for kids. So he wrote one, which is a great resource. So my kiddo's school has, we didn't have it during pandemic, but Inspiration Day, where, parents and relatives and stuff like that could come in one day out of the year. They set it aside and they do different talks about what they do for their job or whatever. And I would go in, there'd be 50 parents there, and all the kids could decide who they wanted to go see. It was really, really cool. Wow. So I had seen Dave talk, and I had asked him, would you be willing, if possible, to come in over video for this, if anybody would be interested? He said, absolutely. I said, well, how much do you charge? He said, oh, no, I wouldn't charge anything for this. I'm like, oh, okay. And then he said, and just let me know if any of the teachers are interested and they end up ordering any of the books for their classrooms, because what he does is freak factor for kids. If like a teacher or even a parent and he knows about it is ordering books for like a group of kids, he'll take a Sharpie and he'll cross out kids and he'll put the child's name. So the books get delivered. Freak factor
Aw,
for Dave, freak factor for Shauna May, freak factor.
that is so nice.
So that
Wow.
energy kind of infuses his writing as well. So
Oh,
I
I
love that
can't wait
resource.
I'm going to look at your links when we get them.
When I get them to, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
know you will. You have a bit of time.
So, yes. So that Melodie Beatty, she's written tons of stuff on codependency. Absolutely love her stuff. And I don't know if I'm in the mirrored view or whatever. I don't know if you can. You can't see it.
Maybe.
Okay.
Oh, because you have
is
blurred background.
Yeah, I have the blue background. So this is the NA, the Narcotics Anonymous Step Workbook, 12-step workbook. After being an addictions counselor, I have seen a gazillion 12-step workbooks. And my drug of choice is alcohol. So I'm not quite an NA person. This is an amazing
The
resource
steps probably translate.
Yes.
Right. I mean, it's wow.
It's the concepts. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're talking about drugs, but yeah. So I absolutely love that step workbook. So, so those are some, and anything by Hazelden for like 12-step type of stuff is awesome. So those are some like concrete resources, but also, we've talked about therapy, we've talked about medication, we've talked about, connecting. And we've alluded to this before too, is volunteer work. And not volunteering because I'm supposed to, but to be able to, the whole helper effect and stuff like that. So,
because it really makes a difference. I mean, it does make you feel better to volunteer and to help.
And I think it's important not to volunteer is, oh, I feel better because their life sucks so bad.
Right.
No, that's elitist. But in terms of I'm connecting with this human being, I'm making a difference. I'm, stuff like that.
12.
Practice these principles in all our affairs.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. And so like some of the greatest things that I used to do a anger management course, volunteer anger management course in a maximum security prison. And it was both scary.
Oh, I remember.
And yeah. And also just because a lot of these, it was a women's prison, a lot of these women, and actually I used to do a court mandated anger management group as well, outside of prison. A lot of these people never were taught at all how to identify and deal with their anger. And so to be able to give them to me what's, so giving back, volunteering, things like that, all the holistic, so like holistic wellness stuff. So, the eating, the breathing, moving, sleeping, all that other stuff. One thing that has been amazing with to help with my depression is like the food trackers, like MyFitnessPal and stuff like that. Not to get fixated on the calories and everything else like that. But so I started paying attention. And so I'd be like, okay, I'm going to get ice cream for the 3rd time today.
Is that bad?
It's usually not healthy now.
Oh. I am fasting sweets for the month of July, but yeah.
So it was interesting because I initially did it because I wanted to lose weight. But then what I found was it actually allowed me to pinpoint my depression symptoms because I self-medicate with food. Now that I don't self-medicate with alcohol, I self-medicate with food. And so
you could actually see that through your tracker.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was a weird thing that was very helpful. And the last one is I love science fiction and fantasy.
Ooh.
Yes.
So,
and one of the reasons I think I love especially fantasy is the weirdness is accepted. And the more off the normal you are, the more likely you are to be the hero. I mean,
good. So what's your favorite? What do you read it? Do you watch it?
I read it, Lord of the Rings. I read The Hobbit. My dad gave me, that's the other thing is that's one of the ways I connected with my dad is he was big sci-fi and stuff like that. Yeah. So he gave me The Hobbit in 1st grade for Christmas.
Oh, that's such a sweet memory. And a current thing, a connection.
Yep. So I'm like, hey, if a Hobbit can save the world,
then so can you.
So can I, hairy toes and all. Right. Yeah. So
Hairy
yes, it was
toes and all.
weird.
That
The
sounds like a book
fantasy part.
title. Hairy toes and all, doesn't it?
Okay, so something personal. So I I have hairy toes.
Oh God.
I do. I mean, not like Hobbit, but my sister, because my sister and I didn't get along when we were growing up. She never even read The Hobbit, but she saw a picture of something, and so she called me a Hobbit because of my hairy toes.
Oh, God.
It was very traumatic growing up, but now it's like, hey, do you remember even saying that to me? And she doesn't even remember, but I'm like, that's our connection now.
That was probably the subject of multiple sessions with your counselor, right? Calling you a hobbit because
Body
you're hairy
image and
toes.
things, but yeah.
Oh, gosh,
But now
siblings.
it's fun and it's
Yeah.
funny, and so I'm pretty sure that MyFitnessPal, and I'm pretty sure publishers are not saying, here's the answer to your depression, here's the answer, but also, the people pleasing and the conflict. And, sometimes no matter how much you don't want to address it, you have to. And that's a theme in so much of fantasy.
I'm so happy that the universe created a story where a hobbit saved the world after you had that experience. Like that,
Right.
that is so awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Okay,
Pretty
send
cool.
that all that to me in writing so we don't forget to
I
put
will.
it in there, like hairy toes and all, and Hobbit saved the world, and you can too.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, so they're not therapeutic, but they were for me,
Well,
you
but they
know?
are,
Yeah.
and I remember, Michelle, when I was first teaching and it was so rough for me, I was having regular panic attacks, and I don't remember what are the big teacher movies that came out 80s or 90s. I don't remember which it was, this teacher saves the world, like the kid got a pencil and a piece of paper and everything else came from the motivation of the teacher. And I couldn't watch that stuff, so those things that we watch really do make a difference, because all that did was make me feel, not adequate. So your connection with the sci-fi thing made you feel good,
Yes. Yep.
and inspired.
Yep. So those are my solutions. What do you all have? Oh, those are my resources. What do you all have?
Am I next?
Oh yeah, I figured.
So, I mean, I've mentioned several books as well, and I'll definitely send those in the show notes. I'm also a big Brene Brown fan, so I've read several of her books. I think for me, it really has been a lot about making sure I'm present in the moment and paying attention to how I'm feeling, what I need, how I want to change something if it needs to be changed. I don't know if you remember, Tammy, but in the one of the labs at school when we were teaching, one of the other teachers who taught in the room between us, I won't say names, she had a poster, and it was a picture of a baby in a diaper, and it said, if something stinks, change it.
I don't remember that.
And so I try to kind of, instead of going with the status quo, pay attention to is what's not working. And instead of attacking, instead of just complaining about it, looking at it from the perspective of how can I change this to where it's gonna work better, be different, or be more productive. And so, I mean,
you have a very analytical mind too. I mean, you're a chemist. I know you're a nurse practitioner now. If you're listening and don't know that, you're probably thinking, why do you have a chemist as your chemistry teacher for a lot of years? But your mind really has that really great combination of the analytical and the compassionate.
So you may also remember the teacher also had a sign that said mathematicians have problems, chemists have solutions. Do you remember that sign?
I don't remember anything. I'm not even sure I taught there. I mean, nope, don't remember it. Well, but to be fair, you were always in that lab. I was always in the actual biology lab next door.
That is absolutely true. So you probably were not in there.
Hardly ever. Yeah.
Yeah. But just kind of along that same vein, I think for me, it really is using the resources helpful at the time. Obviously, therapy, exercise is really important for me because it really does reset a lot of things for me.
Yeah.
And as far as like other resources and tools, we've talked about this before, having a really good supportive network
Yeah.
Yep.
and having a group of people who are like-minded and believe in changing the world and believe that
Yeah.
what you do makes the difference and that new adventures can happen every day. All of those things matters, I think, when it comes to overall mental health and perspective.
And what you were talking about too is very empowering. So it's not, things are awful and there's nothing I can do.
Mhm.
Okay, what can I change?
Yeah. That's so,
Very
I'm so inspired by you two. I
I
don't know
feel
if
it's
you need.
your turn now. Inspire us.
Okay.
You're up.
So I was thinking, well, in light of the negativity, but there's really more than that. And so two of my favorite podcasts, I mean, I have a lot of just random ones I listen to, but one is called Hidden Brain. And I just want to tell you one thing I heard today. So there's a 2-part series I'm listening to on finding serenity. And the researcher they're interviewing has spent his career looking at the brain and how we perceive things on 2 levels, objectively and subjectively. So he's looking at like the external, like brain waves and what happens when things are happening, but then also how people see it and feel about it. So he goes to India and he meets the Dalai Lama, and he's hoping to work with these meditation gurus and hook up the electrodes to see what's happening when they're compassionate. And they're like, no, because they were afraid something would go in as opposed to the electricity being measured. So then they decided to come back to the Western world, come back to the US and find meditation experts here and do a demonstration. So the researcher sits with his assistant. He gets all the electrodes hooked up, and they presented to 200 monks. And so the monks started laughing. And so the researchers thought that they were laughing because the guy looked ridiculous and they'd never seen that before. But it wasn't that. They found out later that they were laughing because they couldn't believe that they were putting electrodes on their head when trying to measure compassion when they should have put it on their heart. And I was like, oh my gosh, I like stopped right then and put it in my notes. So I just share that with you just because that when I'm looking, I specifically looked for that because I'm doing a session for a school in August about positive attitude. But you can glean so many things, little things, big things. So I love that one, Hidden Brain. And then I love Crime Junkie. So if I just want to zone out, and although I don't like the ones that don't have endings, I won't listen to those. There has to be a resolution. So if it's like missing, no, I don't want to be a part of that. So those are, and then do y'all know the other one I'm going to say? Because we've said it 2 or 3 times already. Podcast. The Wiser Than Me.
Yes.
Yeah. The Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Wiser Than Me.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So good. The Bible app. So I have the Bible app on my phone, which allows me to walk and listen, but also I will look for, there are like 5-day devotionals, 20-day devotionals, and I can find the topic I'm looking for and go right to that. And it's like doing these mini self-help sessions. Let's see, books. I'm going to go ahead and put that one, A New Psychology for Women. And then there's a book I love. I talk about it all the time on webinars called Self-Esteem. It's a little bit long and it's a little bit detailed and it has a lot of pretty deep exercises, but it really, that one helps a lot. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'll come back to that. My favorite like books and authors to just, I love historical fiction. And I was trying to think, Gracie, I was like, you know why you like sci-fi, but I don't really know why I like historical fiction so much. So I'm going to think about it, but I love it.
Because that's a very specific genre. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah. Oh,
I love it a lot.
okay.
Kristen Hanna is my favorite author. All right. Have you all seen Firefly Lane?
No.
Yeah. Oh,
No.
so Kristen Hanna wrote this book. I just got the book on audio because I didn't really know about it. I've read several of her books, but it's a Netflix series. Big old chick flick tearjerker, but I cried and laughed the whole time. It has Katherine Heigl and Sarah Chalk, and it goes from the 70s to, so these girls meet when they're teenagers. So you have 3 time periods, and it goes back and forth when they're like 14, when they're in their 20s, and when they're in their 40s and even beyond. About when you talk about relationships and friendship, I know it's fiction,
Yeah.
but it was so good. So I also put then, because you guys taught me this, the importance of your network and knowing who to go to for different things. I'm going to go to my husband, Tim, for different things than I will my 3 children, Jamie, Lindsay, and Michael. Then I will with you. Then I will with another group of women friends that I have. And even in with these groups, there's different things to get advice for different things. And the last thing that I put, well, I did put scripting to have conversations to keep that positivity and reframing. We talked about that. And the last thing I put was being open to being wrong. And that's like a pretty big, just being open to being wrong so that I can begin to do better at accepting, feedback and growing and just being more positive. So those are mine.
That's a big one. Yeah. And I love the paradox too about being open, being wrong is actually empowering as well.
Yeah, it is.
Because now we can look at our opportunities to learn, grow, and all that other stuff. So yeah.
And I don't always have to be the best. I can step back like yesterday and be thrilled that someone else can shine while I just step back and just like my heart was full, So that was a big deal.
Nice.
Yeah. And y'all are helping me through so much of this, and counseling and medication and all those other things that you all said too.
Absolutely. Very cool.
That's
nice. Oh, so is it, I don't know if this is appropriate. Can I give our listeners some homework?
Oh, please do. Yes.
Okay.
Watchers, listeners. Oh, Gracie's taking us to a whole new level here.
Okay.
And she's doing a dance. So if you're not on YouTube, you need to go watch her do a dance.
Exactly. So this when I was talking about doing therapeutic coaching, this is the assignment I give my therapeutic coaching clients.
Okay.
So I want you to go ahead and think of all the stuff that you got out of this episode, the previous episode, whatever it is. And I want you to think of a realistic, y'all heard that, realistic goal that you think you can accomplish in the next 30 days based on this information.
In the next 30 days?
In the next 30 days. Yes. Okay. So nothing world changing, probably. Okay. 30 days. I want you to think of 1 or 2 tasks you can start to focus on. Overachievers, not 37, just 1 or 2 tasks. You can have the 37 in waiting. 1 or 2 tasks that you're going to focus on to start the change. And then find an accountability person, which let them know if they're accountable, let them know that they're your accountability person. Don't assume they know. And help them. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to write it down. And for the next 30 days, I want you to focus on this. And then, hey, these are the changes that I made. What worked, what didn't? How does this benefit me? You've just started multiple processes in your brain to do this. And you're starting to build your village. You're starting to look at options. You're starting to get out of the problem, all that other stuff. So goal, tasks, accountability person. There's your homework.
And you know what I was thinking? Could we put that in like a
yes, we can.
Journal sheet form for them? And we'll put it in the show notes. Something they can download and print out and then use it if they want to do it that way.
Yes.
We could also post it on the Facebook page to see if people are willing to share.
Oh,
that's a great idea. Okay.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Perfect.
Nice.
I love it.
Yay.
I feel like these were 2 really different episodes. It was just like we were just like brainstorming. I hope is that what you envisioned?
It was actually, yes.
I love it. It's great.
So it worked. Yeah, it was great.
It's great. Okay, well, do we have, let me look at my list. Y'all look at yours. Do we have everything? Was there anything else, Gracie, you wanted to share?
I like this, especially if people take the information and they start to apply it and then they share it with us, whether it's on a Facebook page or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I
sharing
like
your
this.
ideas too, because there's 3 of us and there's tens of you. No, I'm just joking, not tens. I hope that there's thousands. Because, I told you I keep meeting these people that say, oh my gosh, we listen and, listen to your podcast and read the things every single week. And I'm saying, please, let us know that
Right.
and
Yeah.
share your ideas.
So
Grow
yeah, so
the
Michelle, that's a
community.
great idea. Just both for people that are doing it, but also to continue to spread the word and make those connections. Yeah.
I
So
love to
people
watch
who-
your hand movements.
Somebody actually bet me one time that I wouldn't be able to go a full hour talking without moving my hands. I'd even take the bet.
I can't. I can't.
No.
There's no way.
No. No, that wouldn't work at all. Although sometimes I sit on my hands here in my office because I have a heating pad. Tim keeps it cold in here. And so I have a heating pad. It's my happy place.
Yeah, it helps if you hold something in your hand. I don't move them as much if I'm holding something, but still, no.
When people ask me, do you want a lapel mic or a hand? I always take the lapel because I have whacked myself in the face.
Knocked your tooth out. And I can also see you being like, and then I just, and then I was always like, I get you put the mic to your mouth and not to your mouth. And yep. We have to speak together again, Gracie. It's been way too long.
I know. It's been way too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, y'all are awesome.
I'm good. This is exciting.
Yeah, I'm good too. So think about your next 2, girl.
I already have some ideas. Yes.
Ooh, I can't wait. Okay. Well, then are we good? Anybody have anything else? Nope.
No, I'm excited about that Consider Yourself Hugged challenge that we are putting out there.
Oh, we're calling it a Consider Yourself Hugged challenge.
Nice.
This is getting good. Okay. Well, then to access that Consider Yourself Hugged challenge, make sure that you go to, we'll put it on the show notes page. We'll put it in the Facebook group. Are we doing it in the women's?
Whatever you like.
Hugged, a place for women.
Definitely there.
Yeah, and I'll put it on my professional page too, and y'all can share it wherever you want to, even maybe on LinkedIn or wherever. We'll just share it. So
okay, so to boost it up, and Tammy, I'm volunteering you for something. I apologize, and if you don't want to participate, so I'm thinking the first person that shares, the 50th person that shares, and the 100th person that shares gets a prize. I would be willing to get Dave to donate some of his books for that.
What about my books too?
And that's what I was about to volunteer you for. Would you be willing to donate some of your books as prizes?
Of course. Yes. Okay. So first, 50th,
and 100th.
And 100th.
Person that shares.
Okay.
We'll get some resources.
This is big time. Y'all are homework, challenge, prizes. All right. I love it.
Me too.
Okay. Awesome. Well, then go do all the things and keep liking, keep sharing, keep doing all the things that Gracie and Michelle just gave you for homework. And if you're not a part of our women's group, go join that. The link is in the show notes. And, it really does help when you do subscribe and download and comment, and all of those things just really help grow our community. So please do that. Let us know you're here. Let us know your ideas. And then last time we felt like we did a really good job of this. So I think you both thought it was the best yet, but I feel like we say that every time and it's really the same. But anyway, I think it's awesome no matter how we do it. Ready?
Yep.
And until we're together next time,
consider yourself hugged.
Mwah. That was good. That was truly good.